For those tuning in on the recording, we are starting a lean coffee format, and everybody is adding their topics to a board, which I should probably share my screen because we're going to need that.
What's JPD? Oh, sorry.
Probably Jira Product Discovery.
You
Oh,
can't react to a note. Uh-oh.
I'm sure that's by design.
Uh, well, I, I want people to be able to vote, so that's that's going to be a problem if we can't.
Yes.
But if we can't, I've got a backup solution because I come prepared.
many people want to discuss about certs.
It's true. It's true.
Oh, if they're a
No.
certain size, you can't see the emotes on them.
Oh, is that it? Oh, that's okay. All right, we got about another minute. Oh, Larry, controversial. I'm going to vote for politics before I vote for that topic.
Wow.
All right. So, let's take a look here. We have best order in which to take the certifications, preparation for certifications, certification prep and worthiness, training certifications. Let's see, any other certification ones, because there's quite a few of those. Okay. Uh, structured conversations versus presentations, topics we'd like a deep dive. I think those are two separate conversations. Meeting times, days, format, structure, and for Las Vegas local, in person, or virtual, what works best for you. I'm going to put those together because I feel like they are related to each other. AI in Confluence, Confluence whiteboards, politics, which was a joke, so we're going to just put that over here. The latest news from Atlassian, automations, asset management with assets. That's the Atlassian product, Atlassian Assets, I think. Enterprise service management, end of life for DC, Jira product discovery, team shaping, agile tips and tricks like story point values, open DevOps, JSM and assets. I'm going to put that with asset management if that's okay. Insider tips and tricks. So let's move that with also with tips and tricks over here. And leveraging Atlassian for your career, which I feel is it's its own topic. And app showcase. Okay, so cool. We got a bunch. We got a little cloud over here. So now I'm going to give you all another 5 minutes to vote. I think you can only vote once because we're going to just count thumbs ups. If you want to discuss that topic, give it a thumbs up. All other emojis I'm not going to pay attention to. So if you like want to put explosions or anything else on it, that's fine. That could be just your emote. You can just emote. That's cool. Um, however, could you vote for every single thing? Yes, you may. If you do so, it is as if you voted for none of them because we're going with the ones that get the most votes, right? So if you vote for everything, it's like voting for nothing. These certification ones, I'm going to stack these all together, and I'm going to make the preparation for certs the one that we should vote on. Okay. So that we can combine those into just that one topic. This is going to be a topic about certifications, value, and preparation, and we'll just make that that one sticky note. So 5 minutes. Go put your votes out. Oh, to vote, you click on the sticky note, and there'll be like a little menu bar that comes up with a smiley face on it. Click on the smiley face, and you might have to type in thumb for it to show a thumbs up. Also, if someone has already voted for a topic, you can just click their thumbs up, and it'll add yours. And if we're just about done, because we got 2 minutes left, but if you feel like you're about done, just go ahead and say done in the chat or something, and that way I'll know. Done, done, done. Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, automations looks like our top discussion point. And then we've got our certification cluster. It's going to be next up. Let's see. Virtual or in person meetings and times, days, format. Kind of grouped those together. We've got a bunch of, here's another 3. And then we've got some 2s here. We probably won't get to the 2s. We might not even get to the 3. But that's okay, because it means that we have topics for the future, which is always nice. Okay, so fantastic. All right, now what we will do is we will get to our conversation, our lean coffee conversation. Who put automations? Was that you, Corey? All right. So, Corey, I'm going to ask you to introduce your topic. I'll give you about a minute to do so. and then we will discuss it for 2 minutes, and then I will do this. I'm not going to like interrupt us or anything. I'm just going to do this in the video. So be paying attention, and I'm going to look to see like how many thumbs up do I get, right? From doing that. And then we'll when if we get, enough thumbs ups in a few seconds, I will give us another, I think I'll give us another minute with each time, and we'll, after we do the first topic, we'll see if a minute was enough. Okay. So Corey, introduce this topic.
Alrighty. So I put automations on the board because I was completely unsure about what we'd be doing with this topic. I was hoping I'd be gaining some more knowledge about automations. However, the reason it's on this board is just to leverage community knowledge that's out there, specifically when we're talking about gaining efficiency when we want to meet our SLAs in a service management project, and just making our life easier and removing manual work. And so within my organization, we use multiple sites within our organization. And so we have to utilize automations in order to make sure our issues are maintaining a positive SLA rate. We have some values that are duplicated into other work management sites so that we can keep track of our data streamlined. Other than that, would like to learn more about the automations.
Awesome. You had 7 seconds to spare, so perfect timing. All right. So now we're going to talk for 2 minutes, just anybody, free form conversation, and then I'll start doing the thumbs up to see if we want to keep talking. All right.
So yeah, this is Bob here. I have a question as far as like the automation and scope is concerned. Are we looking at Jira and JSM, or are we including Confluence as well?
So I don't know if that's a question as far as, are you asking within my organization, do we do that, or for this topic?
For the topic.
Okay. Let's keep it within the JSM product, JSM Jira software.
Okay. Yeah, because I think that makes sense. I think more people know it, use it that way.
Right. Okay.
Not on the Confluence side.
Although I am interested in hearing about automation and Confluence, for sure.
That's kind of why I brought it up. I mean,
I would say, why don't we leave it open? But obviously, Corey has a special interest in it for JSM. How's that?
I'm equal value either way.
Okay. So what do we? Who has something awesome that they want to share about automation that they've used or that has been really helpful for them?
I can speak to something I'm working on actually right after this meeting. In the same way that, like, that feeling you got the first time you created a Jira project and you're like, oh, I can use this to track a thing. And now it's like learning something new and you're like, I want to apply this to everything. I kind of had that feeling with automation a month or two ago when someone bestowed on me the gift of knowledge of smart values. And ever since then, I'm like, how can I use these? I have to use them in all the things. And so I've been using them a lot of different ways. And the way I'm using them right now is we're going to retire a notification plugin. And this notification plugin is used heavily on a user access management project. And so whenever a ticket is spun up, an email is sent to a product owner, actually like 20 product owners. And then if they don't get the work done, then every morning at 9 a.m., they're going to get a list of tickets that are overdue. And so using smart values, I'm trying to create a scalable system for the end users to manage, kind of empower them instead of having to go to an admin like they've always had to, and make it in the end a simpler system. And so I'm creating on an automation rule that basically you set a couple variables at the front of it saying, here's the product, and then here are the owners of it by email. And then in the email template and the email action, the automation action, we're then just leveraging those variables. And then we're also doing a lookup issues, which I had never done that before until a month or two back. And when we notify them that there's a new ticket that's been created, we're also giving them, hey, and by the way, here's the future tickets that are and when they're due. Just to be proactive. And now whenever they go to the latest email of a notification that this has been created, it's now the most timely email they receive, because it also has a list of the upcoming work that they need to plan around to deactivate these tickets. And so in order to simplify that for the end users, all they're going to need to do to spin up another product, I still need to make a field and add it to their project. But now all they need to do is copy the automation rule, change the name of the product, and update the owners, instead of going and adjusting an email template and touching the HTML and all that kind of stuff. And so there may even be better ways to do that, but that's an automation thing that I recently started doing, and it's something I'm working on at the moment. And it's one of those things where it's like, I can't wait to work on it more. And so otherwise I've just been using a lot of the straightforward automation stuff before that.
Yeah. So yeah, Smart Valley's definitely kicked it up a notch. Along the same lines, you mentioned lookup issues. I work with a lot of assets, and so lookup objects is just kind of in my wheelhouse. It's in my Swiss Army knife, right? So you hush. Sorry, the dog is up and down. So yeah, it's one of those where if I need to try and find the asset that I'm gonna update an attribute or anything like that, I always do a lookup objects, set up the AQL to find the affected object, or even if it's there as a smart value, right? Issue dot, whatever custom field it is. Throw it in the lookup objects, and then I'm able to in the action do what I need to. Usually it's updating attributes, it's something like that, and then off on a little bit of a tangent, just because I want to get my 2 minutes of some additional time in. Never underestimate the value of the log action. It is basically the printf of the of when you're writing your automation rule, because you need to know if it actually got the value that you wanted, so that you can do the next thing that you want with it.
So I sometimes work on clients that have lots and lots and lots of issues. And when we have to do a bulk change for something, there is a limit to how many issues can be returned in JQL. But there is not a limit to how many times you can run the automation through them. So if you have an automation that looks for a JQL and changes all of those issues so that they will no longer match that JQL, you can just set it to run over and over until it doesn't hit anything anymore. But don't forget to turn it off after that, because because then you can capture things you may not have wanted to. But yeah, that is one way to get around the limit on like the JQL query.
Well, I know, speaking of limits and automations, just a thing, just because we just found it a couple of weeks ago, but we have hundreds of automations that we run through our JSM for a number of different things. And it was mostly all set up by Precipio. So if you want to, anyway, but a couple of them, especially, we have something. So with our JSM, you put in a ticket for a particular asset, and then it assigns to a particular group based on that asset. And that was just happening so many times because of how many tickets we're getting a day and things. And so we were constantly getting throttled based on that. And one of the people who worked for me in Australia figured this out, that we copied that automation to copy whatever. When we start to get throttled, we would move to the other one and turn off that one, so it's exactly the same, and it would stop getting throttled, and we'd be able to go on for another 12 hours.
Mm-hmm.
That was like the, and it's so hacky that I'm surprised that I didn't think of it first, and it really made our life so much easier.
We could do an entire talk on stupid automation tricks.
Yeah.
Of like, this is a hack. Don't do this. This is what we did.
Exactly.
Automation gone wrong.
Automation gone
Yeah.
wrong. I like it. I like it. Yeah.
Gone wrong
Cool.
to make it right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's, what is it? So wrong it's right. I don't, Cosmopolitan. Yeah. All right.
Two rules make a right. That's what it would be.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
I have a funny story. For the so many microservices which I was managing back in the days, there were so many dependencies on so many projects. So the Jira ticket would not be closed until the automation would kick in, and then there would be the story points. It would have met all the story points. It would have been closed, but still the back-end engineer would keep getting emails that, hey, this is still pending, because of one automation gone wrong somewhere. So I was a nagging manager. They used to come back to me and say that, hey, my points are closed and still I'm getting this automation gone wrong.
And were you able to use the audit log on the automation, like the automation
Yeah, I
log,
didn't
to
know
see
about
it?
that. I didn't know
Yeah.
about that. Then I learned that log management, and as
Yeah.
Robert said, log is very important.
Yeah.
See.
All right. Are we still finding this useful? Okay, we're getting some of these. All right. Great. So I'm going to go back to sharing my screen because, all right, so this now goes over to done. I have a takeaways column here. If anybody comes up with a resource that they want to share, just go ahead and put it in the takeaways column, and that way people will be able to follow up with it. Like if you're like, oh, I know a book about that, or I know a website that talks about that. So yeah.
All right. Yeah. So I have a question. So we put it to done. Does this mean that we may want to consider this as a topic for a future meeting?
Oh, absolutely. Every single sticky note on here is a potential topic, except for the
Okay.
ones that are about like what are some topics we want to talk about. So
The
yeah, like
politics one,
In
I'm gonna
politics.
say yeah.
probably
that
not
one.
going to do politics, but you know what? If I get somebody who is a like political strategist who uses Agile and Jira to come talk to us about how they do that, I'd be fascinated. Like
That would
even
be
if
fascinating.
like not related to like what are the politics, but like how are you using project management in politics? That's cool.
I would
Right.
say that's politics in the right context. I made
Yeah.
that because I figured that we're all new. We don't know each other for the most part, and it would give us an initial thing to rally around and agree that we don't want to do that. So
That we don't want to talk about, right?
yeah.
All right. So our next topic is on preparation for certification, training and certification. What's the best order in which to take the certification exams? What is the prep? Which ones are worthy and valuable? Since we had 4 people put these as their topics, I feel like we don't necessarily need a full introduction into what the intent was there. It sounds like we just want to talk about the certifications. So I'm going to open the floor and we'll just start talking. And we was the 2 minute, 1 minute, 2 minutes to start, and then 1 minute for between thumbs up. Was that about the right amount of time? Did it seem
I think it worked okay.
too long? Not long enough?
I would say more like 2 minutes and then 90 seconds, maybe not a minute.
Okay, sounds
Unless
good.
they stop and then people don't pick it up, like the
Yeah.
last topic ended. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good. All right. So let's get started talking about certifications. One of my favorite things.
Really?
Really, I'm I'm like one of those people that's like really easily to externally motivate or extrinsically motivate. So like you dangle a certification in front of me, and I'm like, ooh, I should do that. Um,
Ooh, shiny.
so ooh, shiny, yeah. Yes. So for me, the certifications have been um, not only have they been worthwhile in terms of like being motivating for me, but also the process of learning things for the certifications has been valuable. I did not know JSM. I did not have to use it at all in any of my previous jobs until I did it for the certification. So and I learned it. And now like I do that for companies and I don't suck at it. So
I
for me
mean,
it's valuable.
the nice thing about the Atlassian certifications versus like a lot of the other certifications out there is that they will test you over the entirety of the product. So there are going to be questions, even if you use Jira on a day-to-day basis and you know it like the back of your hand. There's always going to be something there that you in your work life have never touched or haven't touched for months or years. And then you see a question and it's like, ah, crap.
Yeah.
So that's what the exams are really, really good for. And so yeah, even if you're really experienced, you got to study. And it's always good to get the you know you know build up. Okay, I'm okay. It's just Stephanie. So at least one thumbs up is okay. Two
Oh,
thumbs up.
yeah, yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
I'm just
All right.
I'm just doing the timer thing. Don't worry. Don't let me
Okay.
interrupt you.
Yeah.
Keep going.
So, you know, get a free instance for your testing / studying. Sign up for it, get it, and then make sure you have less than 10 people on it or
Yeah.
10 users and hack away at it.
I would also say that for people who are prepping, most of the things you can do on a free instance, there are a few things that you need a paid instance for. And so if I were doing this, if I were going through it again, I would probably the last like 2 weeks or so before my exam, I would do a premium upgrade trial because they give you a certain amount of time on a trial basis at the higher, like the premium level or whatever, the non-free level, just so that I would be able to see the differences and do things that I can't do on the free tier. That would be one thing that I would recommend because if you have no access, I mean, most of us have access to a paid server through work anyway. But if you have no access to a paid server or doing things to see if this works would be, you know, really bad for your career, then like plan ahead and be like, okay, that's a paid thing. I will test that out when I, you know, can do that.
So, question on the career front from the certifications point of view. I'm at a crossroads to know whether I should be taking Jira certification because I use Jira day in and day out, writing my story epics and all the putting in all the information, making it through the finish line and all that. But do I need a certification in Jira for my career progression? I am a project manager. I use it as a user, consumer, and do I need to have a certification in that?
I'm going to lean toward no, not unless you're going to go into more of the administrative side, and even then, it depends on who you want to work for. I mean, there's actually several of us on this in this meeting who work for partners, and kind of a big thing with being a partner is we have to have people that have passed certifications. So I mean, if you're never going to work for a Precipio or a release team, you don't see that in your future. you can spend your you can spend your 250
Yeah.
somewhere else.
Okay.
Well, 250 in 3 months. Yeah.
Rashmi, it's not like the PMP. It's not a gatekeeper
It's yeah.
certification. Like the PMP, it was definitely one that, like, if you don't have it, there are jobs you will never ever get a call back for, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
This isn't like that. This is more like if you are working for or applying at a place that needs it the way that partners need it.
Okay.
But otherwise, no.
I'm like a consumer. I'm using it every day
Yeah.
with.
I would say though, because I've done there's a certification, the Jira Project Manager certification,
Mm,
that I've done, and I would say that learning the material for that was useful.
okay.
Even if I didn't like if I weren't working for Precipio, I wouldn't have needed the certification itself. But learning what I needed to learn to get that certification was very valuable, because
Mm,
it helped me identify the lines between what do project administrators need and what do Jira administrators need. Because most of the time, I'm a Jira administrator, and I have been. And so, like, I'll go in and somebody will ask me, like, "Why can't I do this thing?" And I'm like, "I don't actually know why."
mm,
You know? And so learning that helped me learn that perspective. But yeah,
okay.
so I would say learning the information is useful.
Information. Okay. Got it.
The actual
I just
Something
certification,
that I
want
would say
yeah.
is key to the passing the certification test as well. And I think Robert touched on it just a little bit, and that is learn the material that Atlassian presents you. Don't count on your own experience, because I have seen many times where I am in complete disagreement with the right answer, but I know what Atlassian wants the answer for you to give. So that's the one you give because that's what they're going to count as right. Even though, like I said, I've seen their answers and it's like, no, that is not what you do.
I don't think
You
I've
may
ever
write this
scored higher
product, but you
than
don't use this product.
yeah, I don't think I've ever scored higher than 75% on one of the exams because of things like that where I'm like, "No, the right answer is this."
So
And I'm
one of the most
stubborn.
effective ways that I have found, and this is because it's my personal style, and learning style has been to find other people to study with. We did
Mhm.
a study group of 6 when I took the ACP 100 and the ACP 200, and those came in very handy because we could divide and conquer, so to speak. If we ran into a topic or topics that someone didn't know, then we each took a topic and went and learned about it, came back to the study group and taught the others about it. And so you didn't have to go digest vast amounts of information about many topics that you might not know everything about. You It was give and take. So you would go and consume large amounts of information about topic X, but then somebody else did that for topic Y, and you got to trade off. So I found study groups to be very, very helpful. We have a colleague, Stephanie and I do, that runs a study group for the 120 and the 620, I believe, right now. Every
Mhm.
other week, she has an hour study session on those 2 exams, and that's helped a number of our other colleagues to pass those certification exams. So
Yeah, I find it useful to teach people. So, like when I was studying for the 520, I just took huge amounts of notes and then shared them out to everybody as like, this is what you should study. So, like, and I want
the
to
Boy
I want to
Scout
find
thing,
the time to
learn
do
it, teach
that
it.
that same. Yeah, it's exactly, right?
Yeah,
Thumbs up.
I've got
There are
this.
lots
Go
of
ahead.
free classes out there too to
Yeah.
take advantage of those.
Yeah, I've got it as an objective this year to get a certification. It's literally in my objective as part of my job. We have to define personal growth and all that kind of stuff, and it's something my manager was actually going to ask us to do anyway because Like I said, we work for the umbrella over the company, and so we're dealing with subsidiaries that are coming to us as experts to help migrate their instances and whatnot. And so as to increase our credibility out of the gate, we'd like to be able to say, we're certified this, that, and the other thing. It's kind of similar effect of being an Atlassian partner, right? When people say our partners have achieved this level of this, and they have, and by doing that, they have this number of people that are certified on their staff, et cetera. To me, I like the way Robert framed it out of the gate, because the way I got it out of the gate when I went to the class forever ago, one of the first or second classes they had on it, here in Vegas, I think, it was with some of the authors, and it was very early in the cert process. There were only a handful of them, and they were just like, this test is toxic, and it's a game of gotchas, and here's some example questions, and it was like multiple choice. The answers were like 25 words long, and you had to find the one word that was wrong, basically, or the one word that was right, that was tripping you up in the other three. This turned into a math problem, right? You find the one thing that's wrong in the answer and work backwards from there to validate that you're on the right path. And so with that framing, I was like, this is awful. I don't want to go down this. I have the experience to do what I need to do. And it also leans against a lot of the things that I am personally insecure or unsure about, things like imposter syndrome, and like, I don't like role playing. And so it's hard to put myself into like, okay, here's an instance, and here are the problems of the instance. Here are the people working in the instance. I want to sit down and talk to those people and work through those problems, and instead of like being told a solution and then having to dictate that solution, et cetera, and dictate to that solution. And so I'm looking forward to digging into that stuff. And I guess the simpler thing I'm trying to get to, and the other question is great, because we actually touched on it before we officially got started, is the order to take the cert exams, what you guys would recommend for that. I imagine it's going to depend on how people learn. I mean, that's a big thing to everything, right? If you want to start with the smaller bites and get bigger, or take on, full-on project management or organization administration, et cetera, and then down from there. I imagine that's probably going to depend entirely on the person. It'd be interesting if you agree or disagree. But ultimately, yeah, going down that path shortly, probably in the next month or two, start, my prep, decide the path I'm going to take, and kind of go from there.
I'm just waiting until February when a couple of my certs go up, and so then I have to make the hard choices. And org admin is one of those choices. So.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm lobbying really hard to convince the Atlassian University team to make convert the system administrator exam and certificate from, instead of killing it, making it a data center exam.
Yeah.
Because that's actually even more important when you're managing a data center cluster, to know what you're doing on the server side.
Yeah. So,
and I think there's relevance there. I mean, there's definitely new topics, things like Helm scripts and VMs that would make sense on the system admin on a system admin cert.
Right. Well, things like cache coherency.
So for those of us who have, say, multiple certifications, and especially those who have the ACE, the certified expert, what would you say is the first one that you would recommend somebody do?
Not 100.
620.
620? Which one is 620?
It's the Cloud Project Administrator.
I would concur with Larry. Either 620, even the org admin is probably something that could be picked up by somebody just kind of getting started, may not necessarily know a lot of GQL, and may not understand fully why technically we're using a Jira, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I can do this. I can put somebody in a group. I can do these things.
I would say the Jira Project Administrator for Cloud, because you can do, I think, almost everything using the free version of Jira, right? You can to try things out, it doesn't get into as much the user admin side, and I think that, I mean, yeah, you don't have to do the JQL for the org admin, but you do have to like you have to see a part of Jira that you don't see normally when you're not like the site admin, right? So there's familiarity too.
Right. And I feel like the content of the 620 is a good base for moving in lots of directions. You can actually turn around and take the 610, which is the data center version of project management, and there's probably an 80% overlap in the content. So that's another cert that's easy to get after you've got that one. But your project management things are going to play into I mean, project is the basic unit, if you will, of storage of issues in JSM and JSW and JWM. So it fits across all three of the Jira products, and then it also lends itself into Agile. It also lends itself into service management, etc. So it's a good versatile basic chunk of work or knowledge to have, and it doesn't it's not expansive. And I forget who said it, but yeah, don't take the 100 first. That's probably the hardest exam to take. Yeah,
That was me.
So,
Me
and that's
too.
what I did too.
I
Yes,
flunked it.
actually,
I flunked it too. Yeah.
I'm old enough to have taken the beta of the 100.
Yeah.
That was brutal. That was very brutal.
The Confluence, you think, oh, it's Confluence, it can't be that hard. I took it last because I flunked it the first time. I've flunked 2 of my tests. Because Confluence isn't that hard, so they had to come up with really nitpicky questions for it. And by the way, that was some of my colleagues. Thanks a lot, Larry. Coming up with those.
You sure I didn't lobby you not to take that one?
I had to take it for the ACE.
Oh, that's right.
It's required. So
yeah.
I need my jacket.
Now it's been demoted to a pro skills badge.
Yeah, but you still have to take
it. It still counts.
Yeah, it still counts.
Oh,
And I need my jacket is the upshot of that.
So you're telling me I evaded it. I got my ACE by evading the Confluence one, because I don't have the Confluence one, but I still have an ACE.
Don't tell anyone, and we won't rat you out.
I don't think it's still.
No, I found the loophole.
It's been about a year or 2.
It was what?
I think it's been a year or 2 since it's been required for ACE.
No, because I did it in December of last year.
Oh, well,
and it was required then.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like it's a very fluid environment right now at Atlassian
it quietly
University
dropped down to
ACE
badge status,
requirements.
but it was still required. Yeah. So yeah.
That was the first one I got, was the Confluence.
Confluence?
And I hated it. I swore and cussed. I still do. Bob will tell you. I still bitch about them. I recommend no one ever taking that. Now it's going away.
So you know, I told him it's retired. So, you know.
What? So like I'm like the last person to take this damn exam? All right. I see how it is.
You could have been. Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone's got to get the lights on the way up.
There you
Good
go.
topic. Okay. Okay. So what else we want to cover with this topic?
I can give a little future look, given what I know by talking with some of the folks at Atlassian University and teaching some of the courses, and working on the ITSM specialization for Percipio, and that is certifications are going to go in the direction of the work management software, service management product. There will probably be some stuff coming for Jira Align, be some certification for that. So look for some changes coming. I don't know what the timeframes are on all of it, but I do know that some of the training is going to be changed. Some of the certifications are going to change. There will be more, so you can get all the Pokemon cards again. But I'm sure there will be paths forward to bridge from retiring certs to new certs unless they just literally kill one like they did the system admin. So, you know, one thing for sure about training and certifications at Atlassian, there's never a dull moment. There's always something changing. So
there's always something changing.
Yeah. So I'm choosing my targets wisely. I used to go for a lot of certifications, not just Atlassian. So AWS, I have my SPC from Safe, and at some point I start looking like one of those North Korean generals with the medals down their chest, all the way in the front, and so I'm kind of being a little more picky.
Robert, I hear you. Absolutely. Apparently, the way that I process grief is to learn things. So, like, my mother died, and I immediately applied for an MBA program. So, like, yeah. The it's kind of like, it's like I'm the kid who still wants to have things on the refrigerator door.
understandable.
Yeah. But, some of them are just, you're just like, oh, this is not furthering my life, but I did it anyway. All right. What else do we want to talk about with certifications? We got about 30 seconds on this clock before we thumbs up or thumbs down. Are we tapering? We getting to here?
So Rashmi, Melissa, Corey, do y'all have any questions that we haven't answered? And I hope we haven't scared you away from the certification exams.
No. I got my answer. I was reading through the university.atlassian.com, and then I'll get some information as an end user. But as a career advice, I do understand that as an end user, consumer, I don't require all these certifications currently.
That's true.
The knowledge can help you, though.
Yes,
But
yes,
yeah,
definitely.
certification not necessarily.
Yeah, definitely.
Are we good to put this one to bed? All right, cool. We're actually over 15 minutes past the time that I had set for this meeting. So I think I'm gonna what I would like is for us to, I'm gonna take all of our conversations here and all of our stickies and turn them into ideas for future topics. So that's going to answer my question of, like, what are some things you want to talk about? For people who are in Las Vegas, I do want to ask this question. For people who are in Las Vegas, if we had an in-person event, would you be able to make it? Or are you like sometimes I have the best of intentions, and then, it's like after work and I'm like, I don't want to go anywhere. I work from home. I don't have to, pry me out of the house with a crowbar, but also sometimes it's like, no, I really want to get out and see other people and socialize in an environment that is not a screen. Where is everybody, like, culturally? How do we feel?
I don't leave my house.
You don't leave your house? Okay. Thank you for being honest about it. Like, I appreciate that.
Cool. And most things in Vegas are on the Strip, which I really, really hate going to.
Oh God, I would never do this on the Strip. I just
I didn't even
wouldn't.
know the Strip existed. It's over there. I see it out my window, but I can't.
That's where we all live.
love Vegas
We don't have to
Strip.
go to it. We live there, guys. Right?
Yeah.
We live in the hotels. We work in the casino. That's
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. Yes. Which hotel do you live in, Stephen?
yeah.
I live in the TI. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm
I
stuck
thought
on
we all,
PM.
everybody lived at Circus. Yeah.
Yeah.
For me,
feel like-
I think it would. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna
I was
say
just-
I would like a hybrid of both in person and online. I think it'd be nice to get out of the house and socialize with like-minded individuals. But also, I understand not wanting to leave the house after work. I almost didn't make it to this call, so it goes both ways.
And this was virtual, so all
Yes.
right,
Yeah.
cool. Okay,
I'm gonna
cool.
That's what
throw
happened
in.
with ACE event here in San Jose. 10 people were virtual. All the 10 people were from San Jose. They didn't want to come,
They
but the
didn't want to
people,
leave the house. Yeah.
No.
So
it's the horrible traffic.
I think what I will plan on is to have in person, maybe like once a quarter, and then the rest will be virtual. I feel like that's going to be a good mix. I think most of us will be more comfortable being virtual most of the time. Cool.
I would let me toss in a few things because I've been doing this a while and I've been to probably 300 or 400 meetings. I think having a mix is a good idea, and I would encourage you to commit to meeting in person at least once and give that a chance, because you may find out that the camaraderie and the connectivity there and the networking and the knowledge sharing is much more effective. You might little side conversations while you're eating a piece of pizza and having a beverage. You have a conversation with somebody and you walk away with that gold nugget that's about something that's just been killing you for 4 months.
Yeah.
And now you've got that. And if you didn't have that side conversation while you're eating a piece of pizza, on this call, you don't get that opportunity for that kind of networking. So I would encourage you to try at least one in-person event.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. I was a member of the Los Angeles group, but I mean, LA was huge, and so we always had 25 people who would show up, but they would be a different 25 people every time.
Right.
and it also depended on where it was located, because so yeah, not the
Okay.
strip. I like that exactly.
Yeah. Okay, great. So, and then obviously everybody who's here was able to be here on a Wednesday night. Did anybody have like a huge hardship trying to get here on a Wednesday night? Okay. I'm going to keep the third Wednesday as my like bookmark of this is probably a good time to have them. So, and I'm going to leave some flexibility after, for our first few, just as like seeing if there's, particular time or day that people, people might RSVP and say, I can never make it on that day, but the week before would be fine or whatever, then maybe we'll shift it. But feels like this is a good time. This is a time this works for me. And since I'm organizing it, I try to, like if I'm the organizer, I'm going to pay attention to what works on my calendar. But I do care about what works for your calendars too. So fantastic. Thank you all so much for being here and for bringing your energy and your questions and your conversation. For those of you who came from places that are outside Las Vegas, Rashmi, thanks for being here from Silicon Valley, and Robert and Sean from Phoenix. Super excited. Larry, thanks for joining us from Texas. Did I get everybody's location? Everybody else is from Clark County, right?
Yeah.
We're all local. All right, great. And I look forward to seeing you all at the next one, which I will try to make it in September. I'll try to do one in September, and I think I'm going to try to see if we can do our first in person in October, because I think 2 months is enough time for me to find a venue. So, Larry, were you raising your hand to speak?
I'm raising my hand because I'm gonna take a snapshot of the screen. So A, smile. B, if you don't want to be in the picture, turn your camera off right quick. Stephanie needs this for posting on the community events channel on the community leader Slack. So I'll
thank you, Larry.
right quick. So
this is
you're
my
welcome.
first time, so glad you're here.
Yes. No, trying to help out. All right. Cheese. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Cool. And you guys
Thank
in
you.
Phoenix, I may see you in a couple of weeks if you're going to be at the ISO space. I've known those guys for 10 or 12 years, and I might use that as an excuse to go on a road trip.